Wellness for Life is brought to you by Back in Motion Physical Therapy, Gothenburg Chiropractic Clinic, Mahabi Atwa Community Action Partnership, Lakeside Sports and Pain Clinic, and Thomason, Swanson, and Zahn Attorneys at Law.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mark Wheaton of Lakeside Sports and Pain Clinic. I'm the physician and owner of the practice. We're located in Excelsior, Minnesota, and also right here in Monaga, Minnesota, 3 hours northwest of Excelsior. Today I'd like to discuss a topic that normally you don't think of in mid-January. You see me wearing a cold weather type of sweater today, but I want to talk about something that is near and dear to most people when the weather warms up, and that's golf and tennis. So the elbow is a very vulnerable joint, and in the elbow there are both the outside and the inside of the elbow problems, and respectively they're called, when injured, tennis elbow and golfer's elbow. So for all you golfers and tennis players, this is the time to get these things addressed, because when June comes, you will not be ready to address your sports if you are not ready to go with a healthy elbow. So tennis elbow, as the name implies, often occurs with poor tennis strokes. But it's a very general term. People that work at a desk or do a lot of manual tools often have tennis elbow as well. It's often called lateral epicondylitis. I'll show you a diagram of that in just a second. Then on the inside of the elbow, it's called golfer's elbow. And of course, golf is often implicated in that injury. But there are other things as well. Again, using tools or any things where there's a lot of torquing or lifting of heavy objects often will cause golfer's elbow. So they are very similar in how they injure the tissues, and even the treatment is very similar. But I will show you now the diagram that will demonstrate the location of the injury, and then after that I'll have a subject that you can look at as we examine her. Okay, first we're going to look at tennis elbow. And tennis elbow is located on what's called the lateral side of the elbow, or the outside of the elbow. And the muscles that start and the tendons that start at the elbow go down into the wrist and the hand. And when there's a lot of wrist and hand activity and overuse, the area right at the attachment site in the elbow becomes painful, and sometimes it tears. So as you can see from this diagram, there's a small tear in this location on one of the tendons. Now if we look over at golfer's elbow, that's on the inside or medial side of the elbow. And in this diagram we see a tear in this tendon right in this location, right up attached to the bone. So both of these injuries are essentially the same, but just on the opposite sides. And I'd like to now turn your attention toward a diagram that shows the ligaments of the elbow. So what I've discovered in my experience is that the ligaments that hold the elbow joint together underneath the tendons and muscles of the joint are very important for the joint stability and predispose people to the tears that we just looked at on those previous diagrams. So here's the outside of the elbow, and there's a lot of ligament tissue here. This is a key ligament called the annular ligament, and it holds together one of the bones of the forearm to the bone of the upper arm. And that oftentimes is overstretched or overused, and it causes an overload injury to the muscle and tendon of the elbow. Now if we look over here, it's the medial side or the inside of the elbow, and again there's a ligament complex here that is very crucial to holding the elbow together. And I should mention too that baseball pitchers, this is an area that often is injured or torn and can be very disabling. So here we have a subject, and I want to look at her elbow, both the lateral side and the medial side. And one thing I'll do is I'll just flex it and see what kind of range of motion. And then what I often do is go to this test where I have her put her fingers straight out and just tell her to resist me. And if there's a lot of pain that resides in here, that will be an indication that this is an injured area. And then I use what I call thumb palpation, where I press on the tissues that I showed in the diagram. And if that reproduces any of the pain, then I've got a positive diagnosis. Likewise, if I come over to this side and I palpate over in this area where those ligaments underneath the tendons are located. Oftentimes I'll get that pattern of injury as well. There are more tests I can do, but those are really the basic tests to see where the source of the pain is coming from, and whether it's tennis elbow or golfer's elbow. I then can apply the treatment of prolotherapy, which is very effective at helping these injuries resolve in just 2 or 3 treatments. As opposed to cortisone, which breaks down the tissues, this will actually strengthen the tissues by reproducing, reconstructing new tissues so that the site of injury is healed, stabilized, and the pain goes away. If you'd like to learn more about prolotherapy and other treatments that I do at my clinic, please don't hesitate to call me at 952-593-0500 or visit my website at drmarkwheaton.com. Thanks for visiting.
Coming up on Wellness for Life.
Hello, my name is Sarah Swanson, and I am an attorney with the Thomas & Swanson & Zahn law firm in Park Rapids. We have been sharing with you over a series of segments in this Wellness for Life series about our elder law, estate planning, as well as our geriatric care management services. We've shared about what a geriatric care manager is, a licensed social worker or nurse who is trained and certified as a geriatric care manager to work with our elderly clients. And we just want to make sure that people understand that geriatric care management most often is appropriate for our elderly clients. Some of our clients need legal services as well as geriatric care management services. And some people contact our office and work with our office strictly just for geriatric care management services, such as a geriatric care manager attending a doctor appointment or assisting with obtaining necessary services in their home. The way that geriatric care management originated several decades ago was in the case of injuries, personal injuries, and situations like that, where a younger person was facing an entirely new and different life situation. So our geriatric care management services are offered not only for elderly, but for anyone who needs care management services. Our office can assist with the legal services that are associated with those needs as well, such as disability planning. Roger, can you share with people about the disability services that we can help people with?
I'm going to talk about supplemental needs trust, a special needs trust, and an ABLE account. These are 3 different types of plans that can work for a person with disabilities. When the disabilities are such that the person is not able to be gainfully employed sufficient manner to take care of all of their needs. When that happens, oftentimes they are eligible for government programs such as SSI. Those government programs, however, restrict the amount of assets that a disabled person can have, usually to $2,000 or $3,000. And if you only have $2,000 or $3,000 and you're getting only SSI income, which is $600 or $700 a month, that doesn't leave very much to a person to have a decent lifestyle. And so sometimes the family members or others will want to set some money aside for the disabled person. In that case, with a supplemental needs trust, a special needs trust, or an ABLE account, the assets in those accounts are not counted as assets for purposes of qualifying for government benefits. So you can have more assets and use them as you choose to provide just a little extra for the disabled person. A supplemental needs trust is a trust formed with the assets of someone else. So maybe grandpa or grandma wants to set some money aside. A special needs trust may take place perhaps when a person is injured and receives a settlement, and so it's their own money. And an ABLE account just recently made available in Minnesota is an account into somewhat like a 529 account or an IRA, into which people can put money slowly over time. And the advantage of an ABLE account is that the client has a little bit more control over the money. With a supplemental needs trust or a special needs trust, the use of the money is carefully restricted. Nevertheless, any of the three can help just give the disabled person a little bit extra to live on during their life.
Thank you, Roger. So if you or a family member has a disability and any one of these options sounds like it may be beneficial to you, please give us a call. We would love to help you out.
Thank you for watching Wellness for Life. Brought to you by Back in Motion Physical Therapy, Gothenburg Chiropractic Clinic, Mahabi Ottawa Community Action Partnership, Lakeside Sports and Pain Clinic, and Thomas & Swanson & Zahn Attorneys at Law.